I'm absolutely loving about that. But I got to ask you, so with your title, and I want to address this first out there. So this is a family business, right?
It is.
It's a family business, but he has this very cool title. So it's general manager of the vineyard and the farm. Tell us about how it's the farm and the vineyard. Talk about that.
Well, the vineyard is part of the farm. The farm is about 450 acres, of which 80 acres are planted to grapevines. And we grow about 7 main varietals.
450 acres.
Yeah. It's pieces of land that my parents put together in the late 80s and early 90s, some different pieces of open space and farmland that they bought and put together.
That's an amazing amount of land. Amazing amount of land. So out of the 450, how many did you say were planted again?
80.
80 acres. So that's got to make you the largest acreage-wise, I would think. Right?
It is. It's the largest vineyard planted in New England.
That's unbelievable. So 80 acres planted. So you're going to get lost if you go to this vineyard wandering through to be able to see this. That's unbelievable. And I've been out there twice, and I didn't realize that. I mean, I thought it was a lot of land, but 80 acres of grapes is a lot. So how many varietals overall on 80 acres?
Well, we grow 7 main varieties, but then there's probably about another 30 we grow on an experimental basis.
So I'm going away from his title because I'm already fascinated from it. So I said, let's go back to the farm for a second before I go back to the wine. So what else is done on the farm out there?
Right now, well, we used to grow a lot of vegetables, but now it's just grapes and hay and forest land, and that's about it.
And how did your family get involved with this? How did your family decide to go out there and open a vineyard?
Well, my great-grandfather and my grandfather had a winery in upstate New York in Hammondsport in the Finger Lakes.
Yep.
It was called Germania Winery. And my parents had heard stories about that business and kind of had a romantic vision of the wine industry. And my dad's primary business was in the field of metallurgical engineering. He started a small business right here in Providence in 1967 with 2 partners in what now is called the Foundry Building.
Yeah.
They rented out space in that. It was a CIC building at that time. And that small business grew to be a larger business. The name of it was Technical Materials Incorporated.
Okay.
It's now it's moved to Lincoln, Rhode Island now it's called Materion.
Where I'm from, so I know exactly where it is.
And so they sold that in 1980 or 81. And my mom, meanwhile, had bought my dad what has become now the infamous home winemaking kit. And
and that's how it began?
Well, that was about 1970. And he started making wine. He'd always been a beer drinker, but she converted him and educated him into the world of wine. And we started planting grapes in Dighton, which is where I grew up.
Okay.
And had a small vineyard there, but selling the company, kind of being burned out to that initial career, this is what he knew he wanted to go into next. And so they started looking around for farmland to plant grapes and for a good wine growing region. And my parents looked Finger Lakes, looked at Long Island, Ontario, Washington, California, Oregon, toyed with the idea of going to France or Chile or some exotic place like that, and wound up staying here, right here in southeastern New England.
I didn't know half of that, so that's absolutely fascinating, and I'm thankful that you guys did, because Finger Lakes is another great area upstate New York, and all the other ones you mentioned, but what you've done, and to have that much property out there is a gem from Massachusetts. I mean, that's an amazing thing that your family's accomplished. So I'm personally, from a wine enthusiast perspective, I'm very happy that you guys stayed here and did this. So thank you very much. So what did you bring here today?
All right, so we brought, our focus has been for quite some time now sparkling wines.
Okay.
Particularly Methode Champenoise, traditional French styled sparkling wines. And so I brought 3 of those, and we brought a Pinot Noir.
All right, so what do you want me to try first? Because
Right,
I'm anxious to try this, because this is unbelievable.
This is our flagship sparkling wine. This is Brut Privé,
Okay.
RJR. RJR stands for Robert James Russell, which is for my dad.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what's going out there while you're doing that. What's going on out there on a regular basis at the vineyard? There's a lot to do when people are coming out to see. They got tastings, right?
Yep. We are open daily, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 5, and we do tastings every day. We do tours on Saturdays, public tours at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Through the course of the summer season, we do a sunset music series on Fridays. We actually have 2 more coming up actually on Saturdays. But we have hay rides coming up starting September 30th. It'll be every Saturday through the end of November. We also have a large open house at the end of November, which is a Saturday after Thanksgiving.
So I got 2 questions on that. So the tours, I'm going back to, so it's 1 and 3 on Saturdays, right? for the tours?
Yes.
Okay, so that, Jim, that answers your question. And then the festival coming up, let's talk a little bit about
The open house.
The open house, I thought.
Okay, so that
Open house.
is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We've got lots of, we've got, again, hay rides. We've got all the different local farms and come in, kind of do a small farmer's market. And
Does that, so is that kind of timed with your harvest being?
yeah, harvest depends. The parameters we pick around tend to be most years frost. And so we usually typically wrap up our harvest beginning of November.
Beginning of November, okay. So most of the guests I've talked to today that are on this local area on the Coastal Wine Trail, it's seeming like it's October to first, second week of November. Is it pretty much the same for you guys out there?
Yeah, we start a little bit early with some of the grapes because
Okay.
of making sparkling wines. You pick the fruit with some different parameters.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, as I said, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
That
absolutely-
particular wine was Julia Child's favorite domestic sparkling wine.
You're kidding me.
Mm-mm.
I was friends with Julia Child.
Okay.
I was a long-time friends with her. She used to go to my restaurant. Oh, long story. Anyways, you guys have all heard me talking about that before. That is fantastic to hear. That just made me even happier about it. So, we covered some of the wines. There's also another unique concept that ties into your whole family over there. You now have a different side from the wine spirits, and we're going to try more wine. Don't worry. I'm going to talk about more of the wine, but hops.
Yep. Well, we've been brewing beer since 1998, and it's kind of been a passion of my brother's and my brother Bill, who also makes this wine. He's our winemaker, and Harry Smith co-brew the beer at the brewery, and which is Buzzards Bay Brewing, kind of around the corner from the winery on the same farm. And we're currently growing 3 acres of wheat, which wind up in the beer, and we're experimenting with some different hop plants, but primarily cascades. We're just growing them in a small tract right in front of the brewery.
But this is all grown in that 450 acres.
Yeah, but with the hops, it's a real experimental basis right now.
Okay.
It's small. We actually created a hop yard yet.
But the fact that you're starting that, to go ahead, but you said you've had the brewery going for a while now, right?
98.
Since
Yeah.
98, okay. So it's Buzzards.
Buzzards Bay.
Buzzards Bay, that's part of their family now. So if you're seeing that and recognizing it, you know that you're gonna have some great wines and some great beers that you can try to do it. Can they get the Buzzards Bay at the vineyard as well?
Yep, and you can buy Westport Rivers at the brewery, which is also open for the public, so you can, it's kind of a 2-for-1 thing. You can go over there and do a wine tasting either outside in the hop garden, or you can go into the beer garden, or you can go inside to the tap room. And we're open Tuesdays through Saturdays till 8 o'clock.
Really? So you got a lot of time to figure it out. How far apart is the brewery from the winery?
About between a quarter and a half a mile.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So you could accomplish both in the same day. So for my friends that love the beer, there you go. Plan. We'll go to both places in the same day. Done. All right. What else did you bring? Because this is like.
All right, so this is a new release here. This is an extra dry sparkling wine.
This one for you.
This is it's called Mayflower Rosé. It's a rosé sparkler.
So it's a rosé, but it's sparkling.
Yep.
Yeah, this is like an expert open. This mine would go flying in 2 seconds over here. Perfect. Okay. So rosés have been the incredibly hot thing.
And that's a blend, again, of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and actually Pinot Meunier as well.
Wow.
Those are the 3 classic grapes grown in Champagne, which they used to make sparkling wine from.
So you said that the family founded on growing the sparkling, on doing the sparkling wines first, right?
We started focusing on whites and sparklers. It's a cool grape growing region, and so we grow mostly white grapes. And
Okay.
so this is a bunch of different stuff that we grow. For instance, this is some Chardonnay,
Yeah.
and here's the Pinot Noir. And so these together are in there.
So yes, these are real grapes that he brought in. This is why I'm looking at them. It's wild.
This is Arquetzatelli, which is a Russian grape,
Really?
and it's a late ripening grape.
How did you get a Russian grape into the name?
Well, all these originated in Mediterranean Europe.
Okay.
And so It's a long story how.
How the hell got over, but
But
that's
the-
not, but that, I've not heard anybody tell me that they've got Russian grapes growing in their vineyard.
There's
That's-
not many people who grow Arquetzatelle in the United States. We got these from Constantine Frank in upstate New York, in the
Okay.
Finger Lakes.
Yeah,
This is another German.
they produce great Rieslings over
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a Riesling clone that we got from them as well. It's a clone 239. This is another Riesling clone. Just these are
So,
differences.
Well, that's the thing, when you look at these, if you look at the grapes, and this is a fun thing to do when you go to the vineyards, if you look at the differences in the color alone, you can tell that there's a difference in the grapes.
Yeah. And then these are both Riesling, two different clones. So they look. This is much riper than this one is.
Right.
And you can also tell which side was facing the sun. You see, that's the back.
Wow.
That was in the shade. It's like a lighter lime green. This is like a golden yellow, because of the sun helps to ripen them.
So, tours of the vineyard to go through, is that something that's done, it's that Saturday and Sunday is the 1 to 3 on just those days, but does it go throughout the vineyard, does it go into the winery, where do they?
It touches the vineyard. It doesn't go
Into the full
it.
vineyard,
We
okay.
go like into the first couple rows of Chardonnay.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll take people up through the press pad and along into the winery.
Okay, I'm
So this is another cool one. This is called Schoenberger.
Schoenberger.
Yeah, we just started growing that a couple of years ago. It's German as well.
So with that amount of land, you have the ability to continue to grow and add acreage of grapes growing, right?
Yeah, we're been pretty much.
You're pretty much maxed out with where you are?
We've got plenty of land to put more out, but we got our hands full right now. These are actually table grapes that we have. So these are all eating grapes right here that we just put in 3 years ago. So we'll be selling those both at our company store and also at farmers markets, which we go to.
That's
Those
awesome.
are all seedless.
And I'm a great fan in general, which explains why I like wine so much. So if guests are coming out there, we've kind of tried to paint a visual of the amount of wines that you have that are there. And I want to talk about the other ones that you brought up in a second. But if guests are coming out to the vineyard and doing, what's the first thing they see when they drive down into the property?
Zelkova trees. There's a tree-lined driveway. Well, first you do is drive by the vineyard on the road on the way down, and then take a right and go down a clamshell driveway. And it's just a dirt road that's lined with trees on both sides. You see a big old dairy barn.
Yeah.
When my parents bought this farm, it was a dairy and potato farm.
Really?
Which obviously they bought with the intent to convert to a new winery.
But driving through the trees, it's almost like this majestic feeling.
It's a big tunnel.
Yeah, as you're coming down, it's an
Yeah.
amazing, like, you don't feel like you're in Massachusetts or New England for that matter, to come down into it. So it's a very cool experience. All right, so before we end, we're going to talk about the other wines that you brought, 'cause I
All
don't
right.
want to miss anything here.
Okay, so this is another fizzy wine. This is we take this a little bit less. This is called Farmer's Fizz.
Farmer's
And
Fizz.
it's
Look at it, it's with a bottle opener.
it's actually a 22-ounce beer bottle. It's a bomber. So this is the same bottle we use at the brewery. This is a blend of Chardonnay and Riesling.
I've not had this one before.
It's a little less serious than the others.
Farmer's Fizz. I'm loving the packaging. It's Chardonnay and Riesling? Okay, look this one up. This is awesome. This is like easy drinking.
And so these were all designed in-house, all these labels by Bill, who in his spare time when he's done not brewing beer or making wine,
He can design labels.
designs labels.
Bill, great job. I'm glad you sent me your brother, but great job. All right, what else we got? One more, right, before we end here. I want to make sure that I don't miss any of these,
All right.
because these are...
So grab a different glass for this one.
All right, I'll bring out a clean glass right
All right, so this is a Pinot Noir. It's a
Okay.
2012. This is a Burgundian style red wine.
If you couldn't tell, I'm my glory today with all these wines. I'm like in awe, so... Wow. Okay. So, as we're ending and him and I are tasting these, this is the purpose of finding out what is in your backyard. So, this is wine country in all of our backyards, going into the season, whether it's raining, snowing, the sun. I have to say that I was just in Connecticut, God, at the end of June, on a rainy day that I went on vacation, and I ended up going to 2 wineries in Connecticut, just because they were close by to where I was staying. So there is no time that is a bad time to go discover that we have wine country in our backyard. To know that you can go see things like these grapes grown, and now he's saying he's got table grapes in addition to the wine grapes. Don't miss out on these type of things. All these things are going to be on my social media. You're going to see all these interview clips afterwards. Support not only local people that are out there, but enjoy what we have, because these people are producing amazing stuff. Thank you very much for joining me today. Greatly
Cheers.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.